between. Want to join in? Call or text the show at 573-875-KTGR. The Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Tuesday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey and Brendan Schaefer here. Okay, so Eli Drinkwitz had some things to say today.
Did he now?
He did. Quite a few that we're going to play back for you. Addressed, coaching rumors in general. Not even just for him. We'll hear what he had to say in full about the question that I thought was very well worded from Gabe DeArmond to just talk about the current state of college football and how firings are happening earlier this year. And Eli Drinkwitz's name at least has been bandied about by some out there.
It's out there. It's out there. But you know what? It's on a place like Twitter and social media. Those places don't even exist, Andy. They're not real. So, I mean,
a lot of it's not real, but as we know,
I was just alluding to
it's a gray area.
Preview, referencing Drink's comments. We'll get to them.
Yeah, it's coming up here. You can get your thoughts in on them at 875-KTGR or a comment on our YouTube channel. We're live right now at KTGR Sports, also on Facebook. And we'll also talk NFL, good, bad, ugly time. Week 6 in the books, and at 5:05, you can tell us what was good and bad and downright ugly from this past weekend of NFL football. And the injury expert Will Carroll talks NFL injuries at 4:25. Call or text us at 875-KTGR. Tweet us at KTGR Big Show and find us on Facebook at facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
And Drinkwitz, when asked about the rumors swirling around when it comes to coaching in college football, well, mostly brushed it aside and gave credit to the university mainly for the success that his team and his program and he himself has had since he got there. We'll play the full answer for you here in just a few moments. But in that, he also flatly denied that Kirby Moore was speaking to Arkansas at all about their head coach opening. And so he did say emphatically that wasn't true. And so we'll see what happens in the future with everything going on around several Power 4 openings. Arkansas, Penn State, UCLA, several more probably that might be coming very soon. And that is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 14th day of October 2025. You can call or text us here at 875-KTGR. This is the cut from Eli Drinkwitz. A longer answer, but worth it to just parse it out and unedited as well, just to, from start to finish, what he said after the question was answered or question was given by Gabe DeArmond earlier today at Eli Drinkwitz's press conference.
Yeah, I kind of referenced it this. I got problems of my own, and I think the number one issue right now amongst college football is the noise that's associated with people's programs at all points of the season, whether good, bad, or indifferent. There's no such thing as journalistic integrity on social media. There's just wild, outlandish reporting. And anybody's name, I'll bet every sitting head coach has been listed as a candidate for some job so far. And as a team, as a coach, we got to ignore the noise and focus on the things that we can control, which is winning and losing football games. Last week it was really unfortunate that Kirby's name got associated to something that was a complete lie. He'd never interviewed, didn't talk to anybody at Arkansas. It's a bunch of bull crap put out there to try to create distractions in a narrative that then comes over after the fact, after the game. And it's really disappointing, all right, that this stuff happens because, again, Twitter ain't real and it's just a bunch of bull crap thrown on message boards. So how do I block it out? I ignore it. And I get mad about it when people ask me about it. No. As far as my name associated with everything, that's awesome for the University of Missouri. It means we're doing something really good. It means that our administration is committed to excellence. It means all the investment that the people here have been made has resulted in our success. And, that's what I'd say. It's a tip of the hat to the University of Missouri. Has nothing to do with me. Has everything to do with the players, and the support staff and Josh trying to cut off the questions.
3 times.
Yeah. So he's telling me quit rambling, but I would just say that, yeah, it's a tip of the hat to the University of Missouri. But I would encourage all the fans and everybody else. It's October 14th. Is that what today is? Only thing that matters for us is 1-0 this week. And anything outside of that is a distraction that you shouldn't even worry about. Don't even let it cross your mind because, man, I have no idea. You lose 3 games in a row, you may get fired. So I wouldn't worry about it. MIZ.
Hey, there it is.
Well, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
A lot of thoughts.
Lot to unpack. You can tell us your thoughts on it at 875-KTGR. Look, bottom line, I think Drinkwitz himself did what he could in that situation. Like, he addressed it and said, sure, it might be out there. We don't try to pay attention to that kind of stuff, or at least at this point, without saying it, I think he was trying to say, at this point, it's meaningless. Like, we've got games. We've got to focus on that.
I know.
It's always in the back of everybody's mind, though. And so when
now it's in the front of people's minds too. You know, it's more than the back of their minds right now. And I think, again, it's a little bit of deflection. It is, you know, to frame it that way of don't worry about that. But it's like people do want to know about the long term. But his point is true. Like 3 weeks ago, James Franklin would not have been, you know what I mean? Like, there was no inkling. And so he goes, hey, you lose 3 games, you get fired. Things happen fast. And like October is not hot board season in most years. So can we slow down? But like when you hear, and there's nothing, let me be clear about this. There's nothing he could have said that would make you feel any better.
No,
because we've had a coach literally post to a place that is not real and on Twitter and say, I'm not bleeping leaving.
Yeah.
You know, the clip from that movie, Blake Baker. And then 2 days later, he's LSU's coach, LSU's defensive coordinator. So Drink could have said that, and that wouldn't help because we just know things happen sometimes. So he's right in that it is a credit to Missouri and the things they're doing at Missouri that people are talking about him in that way. We've had this conversation before in the abstract, Andy, about how many jobs are better than Mizzou? How many jobs would he leave for? I have been consistent, and some in the media have disagreed with the idea of would Drink be fired first or would he get poached first? And I've said he'd get poached first, even though there's like maybe a dozen programs in the country that I think could do it, if that. And that number is shrinking, I think, year by year. But, you know, Penn State is the one that people are kind of talking about. And the connections just kind of give you the heebie-jeebies a little bit because Mizzou literally has the quarterback that was their backup quarterback last year. They've recruited quarterbacks from the state of Pennsylvania. Like they're throwing around a.
I didn't even think of that.
Picture.
Honestly, I didn't even think of that angle of it.
Oh,
yeah,
I've been much deeper in the social media than you. Have you seen the people are saying it's his 11th grade picture for his school IDs wearing a Penn State shirt? I mean, the people on social media can do anything and find anything.
Literally,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, you know, it is one of those things, but the whole season is yet to unfold. And I think Missouri can do some great things this year right now. And then, sure, if that happens, will that only ramp up the hot board talk? Absolutely.
Yes, it will.
It will. But part of me is like, oh, Penn State's a weird one because I don't think it's like this holy grail job, but there's a lot that it has going for it. And there's some rumors, too, about the firing of Franklin that it came from, like, you know, Adidas is coming in July of 2026. And there's all kinds of stuff that's out there. And to sift through, you know, what compelled them to do this so quickly, is there just an influx of money that they feel very comfortable doing that? And then, look, you don't fire a guy and pay him a $50 million buyout if you're not prepared to also pony up for the next guy. But you know what? We just talked about it last week, how much money Mizzou is paying Drink, and the fact that Drink did not get a raise himself in his most recent contract extension and probably could have. I don't think there's a number Missouri won't match. I really do believe that. But we can't speculate as to what, you know, other factors could potentially be involved in this after the season when it is only October 14th. It's uncomfortable, Andy, but it sort of is what it is. It's the climate that it is. And I do sit confidently that Missouri values Eli Drinkwitz appropriately and knows that they will do anything to retain him for the long haul. If it's at all within their power, that's what the university will do. And I believe that that's what they should do. And so beyond that, it's hard to, it's a topic. It's going to stay a topic. It's not going away until maybe Penn State hires a coach. That's the one job, by the way, that I look at and go, oh, there's some weird kind of energy about that one.
I would call it today, I would call it a better job than Mizzou. But I've said, speaking.
Don't have to leave for a better job
because
that's
of
what
right.
he's building here,
yeah,
right? So
and that's why I generally just, when people panic about this kind of stuff, I'm like, you can't control it. Like I'm
not panicking, but I'm not thinking about it either.
I'm not saying you in particular. It's but folks worrying about, are we not good enough to keep this coach? Like it's almost never about you. A lot of the time, usually it means that you're doing well, and then it can then be another. You can then sell your program a little bit better to a new coach.
I was going to say
get an attractive name.
If Drink decided
based
to
on
take
what's happened,
if he decided to take a Holy Grail offer at one of 7 or 8 schools in the country that I think would even be worth listening to relative to Mizzou.
Yeah,
I don't think the people that he leaves behind are going to say, we don't care about spending money on football. That was fun while it lasted, but we don't want to do it anymore. I don't think that would be the case. I hope Drink's the coach for a long, long time. I hope Mizzou wins a bunch of games this year. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not panicking about it, but I'm also not downplaying it as like, it's nothing. I think Drink, all he can do realistically is downplay, deflect it. I don't know what the actual question was from Gabe. You mentioned that it was a very good question. We didn't hear that in the reason I bring it up is because he took that as an opportunity.
I'll get it for you. I'll make sure to go
and I'm not like the reason. I just want to be clear is the reason I bring up the question itself is for the context, because Drink clearly had it and used it as an opportunity to say, hey, this bull crap about Kirby Moore isn't a thing either, that everybody thinks on Twitter is a thing. That's something that he felt regardless of the question. Like I said, I don't know specifically, was it asking about Kirby, about Drink, or about the general, cycle of it all, the carousel as it turns. Drink clearly wanted to get it out there and say, look, I'm aware that this Kirby Moore stuff is being talked about too. And that's not something that happened. It's just a complete fabrication, which whether it is or it isn't, he wanted to put that out there in that moment. So that's why I wonder if the question kind of led to that, or if he really said, you asked about this, but I also want to bring up this. I just didn't know the context there.
This, I believe, is where it started. If I have the wrong spot, I apologize, but I'll find it eventually.
Coaching moves.
All right, let me start a little bit before that part.
Eli, you talk weekly about blocking out distraction, both for you and your team. Mm-hmm. With coaching moves happening earlier and earlier, how do you compartmentalize like all the rumors and all the talk and the fact that your name will pop up various places?
I thought that was well done.
It's a great question because, again, you can't say, are you leaving for Penn State? Because even if he knew that he's being talked about, that's not a question that can be answered today.
And it's not what was asked either. Like it was
not what was asked. It was a brilliant question.
I thought it was appropriate for the time of year that we're in. Like we're in the middle of the season, and like it's
not even November.
It's not the time to ask that directly. So and look, the response that Drink gave, I thought was about as good from his perspective that you could have given to.
I agree.
Acknowledge the question, but realize that look, this answer is never going to be complete until we actually get to the end of the season.
And like that might make people feel uncomfortable, and that's okay if it does, because it's like I'm not going to talk down to people that worry about this kind of stuff because I understand it. I worry about it myself. But in the context of what's happening right now, Eli Drinkwitz cannot be worried about it. And even if in some world like his agent was being contacted, like if there were things that were happening on any level, that can't be on his radar. And certainly he's not going to say something would be on his radar because that's exactly what bothers him about the Kirby Moore thing. Because he said what happened in the aftermath of the Bama game is now this is getting talked about and people are saying, oh, that's why maybe, Mizzou's offense didn't quite, maybe that's why they're 1 for 10 on third down because Kirby Moore is too worried about the Arkansas job. That's the perception that Drink was upset about. And I think rightfully, because I don't think that is a realistic, even if he had interviewed for the Arkansas job, what is that, an hour out of your week during a bye that has nothing to do, you know what I mean? Like I'm as tinfoil hat guy as there is, to the chagrin of many, I'm sure, but that's not a thing.
It wouldn't have been and even if it was contact, you're not fully interviewing for that, because coaches do like have to, when they go in for an interview for it, they have to have some sort of plan in place.
And again,
it takes several hours to prepare that. There's no way that happens at this point in the season.
And whether you believe it or you don't, Drink could not have been more clear. That's bullcrap. That didn't happen. Complete fabrication. So that is the slippery slope on some of this stuff where, like, and look, if in 4 months we look back and Kirby Moore's the coach of Arkansas, am I going to have a little bit of the tinfoil hat and say, maybe it did kind of happen? Yeah, sure. But for the moment, I have no reason not to believe him. That's a coach expressing frustration with this carousel, expressing frustration that when you look at a James Franklin and go, man, that guy built up Penn State, after some tough times. And if that guy can lose his job in 3 weeks, this is a hell of a profession that we're in. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a brotherhood there with coaches. And you see that and you go, now it's just going to cause other people. First of all, guy loses his job. Drink probably doesn't like that for James Franklin. And then all the crap that comes with it. I don't envy the coaches that are in this position because, again, even the slightest perception that you're focused on anything other than the task at hand, even if it's not real, it's not tangible, it's something that can crop up in the ether, which is, I think, where the Drink talk about Twitter isn't real comes from. Although it is, I just continue to point out, the noise and the distraction is talked about so much. Don't look at it. He talks about how much it's a distraction.
That's the hard part about this, though, is that, he says a lot about blocking out the noise,
It's the thou doth protest too much, a little bit for me, but you also have to manage it and know what's out there.
You do have to. I think as a head coach, he does have to know in order for his coaches and his players to not attach to it themselves.
I think that's right.
Now, that's a hard thing to do because you read it and you could potentially attach to it, but you have to make sure your players don't. And that's hard to do. And
I agree.
Quite simply, it's why these coaches get paid so much money to do this.
It is not enviable because the moment that it's even perceived, whether you did or you didn't have an awareness of what was out there, that you're focused on anything other than winning a championship at the place that you're at, you hesitate, you're lost. Again, 3 weeks ago, we would have said, yep, James Franklin could win a national championship this year. He's not their coach anymore. And so that speaks to, if you take your eye off the ball in this industry, you're cooked. And so that's why, to that point, for as much as I may kind of poke fun and say, well, you sure seem to know a lot about what's going on Twitter. To that point, you kind of have to be aware of what you're working to manage so that you can then block it out. So you can tell your players to block it out. Now, I don't know if, again, that can't be something players will see the press conference, right? So they say, look, whether he's given a speech and saying, don't read the Penn State crap, I'm sure that's not happening. But it's a press conference where he's able to deliver a message, not only to us, not only to the fans, but the players go, hey, don't take your eye off the ball. This is what we're on. We're on to Auburn. That's what you got to do as a great head coach. And that's what he did. I don't have any problem with what he said today.
Call or text us 875-KTGR here on The Big Show if you want to discuss Eli Drinkwitz addressing the coaching rumors, but also talking about, ball, because it's still happening. He did answer questions about the game against Alabama, and he addressed, even in his opening statement, he said, I'm going to follow up on questions that I didn't have answers to when it came to why didn't we run the ball as much? And so he addressed that. Here was his response.
When you watch the overall totality of the game, it comes down to our inability to stay on the field. We had 10 third downs in that game. We were 1 for 10. It's hard to establish any type of rhythm or consistency on offense. We had 3 3-and-outs in a 4-play drive. And the third downs were not extremely long. It wasn't like we were behind the chains. We just didn't convert the way we needed to, which also swayed the time of possession and allowed them to have the ball too much.
All right, so third downs, the issue. So why were the third downs an issue? Drinkwitz on that.
And that really is, after watching the tape, it's all of us. It's me organizing and making sure that we're practicing it the right way, making sure we're getting the right looks, making sure we have the right plan. It's the plan we put in place. It's the calls. It's the design of the scheme. It's the protection. It's the routes. It's the decision making. All of it has to improve, and that's something that we'll work on this week.
And there were several questions afterwards about, the trying to move forward from the Alabama game and what else he was seeing from that game. But eventually, Eli Drinkwitz said, "No, let's focus on Auburn. We need to turn the page."
A warrior knows there's always more battles to fight. And if we sit here and worry about this stuff, like all these questions, ask me about Auburn. We can't do anything about last game. All right. We're focused on Auburn. And all these questions are just to assign blame to somebody so we can feel better about, oh, we identified why we lost. We lost because I didn't get it done as the head coach. I couldn't find that winning moment for our team. That's my responsibility. And my job is to make sure our focus and everything else is on the next opponent, which starts with Toughness Tuesday today and inside drill.
So there was Drinkwitz.
I like that.
Emphatic on that, yeah.
That
right?
fires you up, man,
Yeah.
because we did, like, look, we talked about it Monday. You explore the last game. They call it Toughness Tuesday for a reason, I think, because certainly that's the day where you have to mentally be tough, block out the last one, get ready for the next one. Obviously, that probably happens for the players sooner than it does for the fans. But it can be easy to let some of those things linger if you don't put a stop to it. And I don't know. I thought he was great today. And I didn't maybe get a chance to mention this yesterday. I thought he was great post-game on Saturday because there was a lot of that energy where he just said, we're out here going, why didn't we run the ball? Kirby Moore, what are you doing? And we talked a little bit yesterday about the 1 for 10 on third downs being the key stat. And that's what he's saying. It's like we didn't run the ball enough because we didn't have the game script.
Didn't have the ball.
We didn't have the ball to be able to run it.
Right.
And the why behind that is great for, a Saturday night stewing over it. But then, man, you linger on that in the Southeastern Conference where you got to go play a road game now for the first time this year against an Auburn team that's pissed. They're not happy. If they're sitting there thinking about, well, Jackson Arnold actually did extend the ball over the goal line. We should have beat Georgia. Well, Oklahoma illegally subbed the guy in. Shouldn't have been a touchdown in the second quarter of that game. We should have beat the Sooners. Lost to A&M by 6. I don't know what referee call got blown in that game. But the point is well taken. If Hugh Freeze is sitting there on all that, I feel pretty damn good about what Mizzou's going to do on Saturday. But if
that's
he can't
the hope,
do that,
right?
That's the hope. And actually, there may be something to that. We haven't talked about their team captain that was dismissed from the team because basically the running back wasn't getting enough playing time. He had played 4 games, and there's speculation, did he ask for a red shirt as a captain because he wasn't involved enough in the team activities? And there's a player on Instagram saying, yeah, you're right for doing it. Like, maybe they're in turmoil. I'm not going to get too giddy about it, Andy.
Well, so it is interesting. Like, at first, I think during the very early portions of the game, Auburn's going to want to come out strong and quiet a lot of that doubt. And Mizzou's going to have to be ready for that punch. But if Mizzou staves that off and then they take control.
How many games in a row can you lose before you become the team that just falls?
And maybe and a big play that swings the game, maybe kind of similarly to what they've experienced here in other games.
Make them think, here we go again.
Then they might crumble under all of that. And then you do, then the Hugh Freeze talk starts to get swirled around. And that job potentially, I don't know.
If Missouri pummels Auburn, which I don't think is going to happen. I think it's who was it that was, I think it was Venables. We'll talk about Venables and the Big 12 stuff that got kind of spicy today from the, again, the place that's not real, Twitter, that we all harken back to, even though it's not real.
Sure.
The idea that it's a one possession league. And I think that's what the game against Auburn is going to be. But if Mizzou wins it by a couple of touchdowns, that could really be hot seat talk on the Plains, because they've had 3 games in a row that they were right in the mix. And now it happens in a home game. Are they
still favorites at last check?
No.
No,
Missouri
they're not.
is
It's
favored
switched.
in the football game.
It is switched now? Okay.
It opened as a Auburn -3. I believe it's Missouri -1.5, depending on where you look.
All right.
And make of that what you will. This is a big kind of swing game now for both programs in their respective seasons. For Auburn, very much the bottom is in play.
Yeah, wheels
to
fall
go
off. Yeah.
to go 4-8. That's super in play. 3-9, whatever it would be. I don't know how many wins they have. Missouri, for them, everything the ceiling is still very, very accessible. But I think this becomes a must-win game so that you don't try to trade places with an Auburn. You say, well, this is a tough league.
Like you can't. What's left on your schedule if you want to make the playoff?
Got to win this game.
Got to win this game, because
if you
there
want
are
to access
tougher ones
the
coming.
ceiling that we have been talking about since spring, like this is a game that has to be chalked up. And I would argue that Vanderbilt, although they're a ranked opponent, I think you got to get these 2 to kind of set up the rest of your season and give yourself a little bit of margin for error with either A&M or Oklahoma or a slip up somewhere. And so this Auburn game, it couldn't be bigger. I tweeted it out earlier this week. Auburn is our Super Bowl, and that kind of plays on a lot of Mizzou fans on Twitter, because it started from other fan bases insisting that, Mizzou cares so much about beating us. We're their Super Bowl every time we play.
Every
them.
single SEC team says that, yeah.
So we've leaned into that. But actually, Auburn, this is a game that you go out there and you play 4 quarters and you win it, and everything's still on the table.
Call or text us, 875-KTGR, your thoughts on Eli Drinkwitz's comments today about coaching rumors, Auburn, Alabama, and so much more. You can see the full audio or hear the full audio on our website, ktgr.com, if you want to dig in. The injury expert Will Carroll gives us some audio on some key NFL injuries, particularly to wide receivers this past weekend. It was a tough week for them. And his thoughts on the surprising Mike Schilt retirement in Padre land. That's next.
Miss the latest edition of The Big Show? Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now, wherever you get your apps.
Hello there. This is Quentin with JQ's On High in Jefferson City. We are looking for skilled and passionate hospitality team members who can bring both front of house charm and back of house know-how to our unique food service operation. We offer competitive pay plus tips, a fun work environment, and we welcome your creative input on our made from scratch menu. If you are dependable, love great food and great people, apply in person today at JQ's On High and be a part of something special here in Central Missouri.
College football is all about the next generation. Fresh talent, big plays, new energy every season. That's the same approach behind Flight by Yingling. It's brewed by the oldest brewery in America, but built for today. Just 2.6 carbs and 95 calories with real beer flavor that keeps up from kickoff to the post-game recap. So whether you're tailgating or celebrating a win, make Flight your go-to. Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. DG Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
Your to-do list keeps growing. Stop and breathe, because Bax Homeworks has the ultimate team for getting things done in 2025. Big or small, they truly do it all. So simplify the workflow and leave all that to Bax. Bathroom remodels? Check. Building the best deck? Yep. Patching the drywall? Easy. What part of they do it all did you not understand? Schedule your free estimate today. Then sit back while Bax Homeworks does their thing. Find them on Facebook or at BaxHomeworks.com. Bax Homeworks, getting your to-do list done.
On game day, every needs and every tailgate needs Kingsford charcoal and a match. Whatever lot you're in, whatever you're grilling up for your fellow Tiger tailgaters, Kingsford charcoal is the official charcoal of Missouri football. Without it, you're just standing around in a parking lot. Since 1920, Kingsford has been proud to fire up your tailgates with friends and family. Kingsford.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want to boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Hey, this is Jimmy with Pro Designs, and maybe you've heard, we're the vehicle wrap specialists, but branding your business doesn't stop there. At Pro Designs, we can wrap your walls, windows, even floors.
Go to ProDesigns.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
We're back here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app with Andy and Brendan. NFL season rolls along with more injuries to discuss, particularly to some wide receivers this weekend that we'll have to look into, of course. And the injury expert, Will Carroll, is here to talk about it. You can find him on Twitter at Injury Expert. Subscribe to his newsletter as well, undertheknife.substack.com. Will, that in that wide receiver realm, it seems that some big name guys picked up injuries, particularly an ankle injury for one Puka Nacua, who I guess maybe got back into the game, but now there's question as to whether he'll be available this week. How do you kind of see his ability to get back out there following the injury he suffered?
Yeah, Nacua is a really interesting one because, this is tough to describe if you didn't actually see the play. Normally, we think of somebody rolling their ankle. We've seen that. You make a cut, ankle doesn't go with you. You just roll over it. We think of it rolling in for a high ankle sprain. This was kind of that, but not normal. He was falling through the air, and as the defensive player's leg was up, it posted, and basically he kind of slammed his leg into the other player's leg. So hit shin on shin, more or less, which is painful enough on itself. But then his ankle just sort of flopped over. So it did the action of a normal, ankle sprain, but it wasn't planted. It just sort of wrapped around. So you don't know how much it's stretched or how much movement it normally has. The body is more flexible than we think, even when you're not. So it's a really odd mechanism. And I think he tried to get back out there. He certainly wanted to play. They had him taped up. But what I was told is it was starting to swell. So they're worried, even though he had the adrenaline, as long as you're out there. You often see this in the NBA with timeouts or coming off for a little bit of a rest. They'll keep going, put them on a bike or virtually anything. This is just a quirky type of injury, which makes it tough to predict where it's going to be. So we'll have to watch the practice reports here at the end of the week.
Will, another team that's pretty banged up right now is the Bucs, and it got worse for their wide receiving core over the weekend with Emeka Egbuka, the standout rookie, suffering an injury in that game. What do you know about his status and whether this receiver room is going to get any healthier anytime soon?
Not anytime soon. This is going to be a couple weeks at least. It's a hamstring strain, and you knew it as soon as he saw it. He's running down the field. He grabs at his leg. You're like, oh, no. So he had an MRI yesterday. I have not heard results from that. They'll probably give those today, tell us whether he's going to be out a couple of weeks, whether he's going to be out a month with a grade 2. But this is, I hate to say it's simple, but it's simple. Now they've just got to wait. There's not a whole lot you can do for that. And for Baker Mayfield, he's running out of people to throw it to, it seems like.
Sure seems that way. We'll see how they adjust. The injury expert, Will Carroll, here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. He had another wide receiver this weekend that suffered a knee injury, Garrett Wilson for the Jets over in London. He seemed to be kind of in and out of the game a lot, and ultimately they said afterwards that he may have picked up an injury during that game. How do you see that situation with Garrett Wilson as he could potentially miss some time?
Yeah, this is one where I think the context of the game, they couldn't throw the ball. The Jets, they outjetted themselves. And so I don't know how much it was, whether they're just looking for some minor injury to make an excuse for Wilson, so he's not caught up in it. He's been more and more frustrated as this goes, and that game had to be. One of the interesting things is after that, somebody pointed out to me that there's very, very few knee or ankle injuries on that crazy turf at Hotspur Stadium. And because it's underneath the turf, the grass doesn't roll up, it doesn't roll out. They just basically install it on a roll. But it seems to work. And with as much problem as we're having at some of these stadiums, I mean, the NFL is the one that put it in over there, so they should be able to do that for other stadiums. So I'm curious to see whether that becomes, whether it's just quirky because we've had really so few games there, or whether that's actually a viable solution for some of the stadiums that have turf now.
Will, I know of some fantasy teams that have been hurting without CeeDee Lamb. Is it possible that he returns this week, or do the Cowboys want to wait even longer to make sure he's 100% good to go when they bring him back?
No, they think he's going to be back this week. That ankle seems to have held up. They're going to run him through practice. Obviously, they're not going to go full go on him. You never know exactly how it's going to be. But everything's been moving forward positively. George Pickens has really taken things up a notch. So now that you get Lamb back, he won't see as many targets, I'm guessing. But now you have two real threats for Dak Prescott, and they're going to need him because that defense just isn't playing well. But for fantasy numbers, it could be very, very good for all three of those.
Very well could be. The injury expert Will Carroll here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Now to kind of freak injuries, and maybe the one that Anthony Richardson suffered for the Colts. I guess the way that I interpreted, Will, was that he was stretching with a bungee cord, and then whatever that cord was attached to, that pole kind of snapped and hit him in the face, and he has an orbital injury. I can't say that word 5 times fast, but freak injury for Anthony Richardson. Now, look, Colts seem to be okay at quarterback for now with the guy who's out there at the moment, but the backup QB situation now, how does that look with Richardson's particular injury?
Yeah, there's two things here. I mean, I've heard it both ways, that it was the pole that came with it and caught him, and I've heard that just the band snapped and caught him. The orbital is that bone, it's your cheekbone right underneath the eye. But you need that, even with face masks and everything. It basically holds the eye in place, and that's obviously fairly important, not just for football, but for life. So he's going to have to wait for that to heal up. Sometimes they'll go in and do surgery. That doesn't look like it's going to be the case. But this lets them push Riley Leonard, the rookie quarterback from Notre Dame. He bumped up to the number 2. It wasn't needed. They hope he's not needed. There was a lot of speculation that he would have to play this year, given how Jones had played in the past and the absolute lack of confidence. The other thing with Richardson is he's not going to play again here. So it would not surprise me if they just quietly let this go, place him on the IR, and just say Vaya con Dios at the end of the season, which they're going to do anyway. This hasn't worked for them. There are a lot of quarterbacks. I mean, we mentioned Baker Mayfield before, Sam Darnold. If you get in the right to Daniel Jones, I mean, it could be the same thing. Richardson's phenomenally talented, but he just hasn't gotten things done for whatever reason. Maybe that's the coaching staff. Maybe it's the people around him. Maybe it's just never going to work. I am reminded when there was a lot of talk about at camp. We hear this every year with some quarterback. They're like, oh, he ought to be a running back. Oh, he ought to be a tight end. Richardson has classic size for tight end. I wonder if that might be a better path for him right now.
Will, pivoting to baseball, I'm curious for your reaction when you learned the news that has kind of made some waves this week, not on the diamond, but off it, with Mike Schilt announcing that he's retiring from manager of the San Diego Padres. Obviously, with their ownership situation and front office situation, kind of has been a lot going on and a lot speculated about, but that was kind of some news that surprised people this week.
It really did. It came out of the blue, but it shouldn't, because we've seen the toll it can take on you. I mean, Terry Francona physically is a mess, and I was kind of stunned he came back, and he's done well. But even then, they surrounded him with people that could step up, kind of a college of coaches approach, with him, dealing mostly with the players rather than all the other little things, to take the physical load off. And we saw Ron Washington have a darn near heart attack, had a quadruple bypass. So there's not only a physical toll, but there's an emotional toll. You're on the road all the time. You're dealing with these players, the stress of it. Look at him. I mean, he's not that much older than me. And when they said, Schilt 50, I think he's 58. And I was like, wow, that takes a toll. It's kind of like looking back on like the cast of Cheers and realizing half of them are in their 30s, and you're like, man, I thought Cliff Clavin was in his 50s. Or the whole Wilford Brimley line. That's one of my favorite memes. But it is an emotional and a physical toll on these managers. I'm frankly surprised more of them don't step out. I mean, there was a recent story about Bruce Bochy about whether he wanted to manage again, whether it was at Texas or somewhere else. He's obviously was considered for San Francisco and took himself out of that. He's got 2 artificial knees and 1 artificial hip, and he's supposed to have the other hip done soon. This is a guy who loves to hunt and fish and has grandkids. You wonder how long some of these guys are going to hang on, especially now that they're making some decent money. Thank you, Craig Counsell.
For sure. And we'll see. This has been quite the year for managerial openings. But they got 8 now, right? After Schilt saying, So it just seems like a year where there could be a whole lot of changeover and just that maybe new faces as managers, a lot of different places.
I don't think we're going to see a lot of new faces, unless you count Albert Pujols as a new face. That one's all but done. You'll see the Cardinals legend down there in L.A., where he's already on the payroll. Let's pay him a little bit more and just have him manage the team. Why not? So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think we're going to get a lot of new managers. The one that I do think, A.J. Ellis, the former catcher, might just get that Padres job because he's been groomed for it all along.
Injury expert Will Carroll with us on the Big Show KTGR. And now that we're into essentially the final 4 of the playoffs with Dodgers and Brewers playing their first game last night, Dodgers barely getting it done, and then Mariners with an excellent start against the Blue Jays. Just your thoughts so far on how far this has come for both of those teams as they got their first step towards potentially meeting in the World Series.
Yeah, the Mariners look great. Obviously, that game 1 I thought was the biggest thing for Bryce Miller to come out there and go as deep into the game as he did after that 15-inning classic that also killed their pen and their starting rotation. When you have everybody but you go, you're going to have to go deep. Miller's always been talented, but man, he's just had a bad year. He's had some injuries. You didn't know what you were going to see out of him. If he had gone out there and tanked and gone inning, that would have hosed their pitching for the rest of the series, blown up their confidence. And this is a team that looks very, very loose, very, very confident. Dan Wilson took over that team midway a couple of years ago and has really guided that team through some quirks. The superstar like Julio Rodriguez not playing terribly well, but Cal Raleigh has an all-time season. The pitchers are all great, but they've been very injured and kind of have to juggle that. So they've done a great job. Toronto just looks shell-shocked right now. This is a team coming off beating the Yankees that I thought, especially at home, was going to be tough to beat, but they've been anything but that. I don't think this will be a sweep, but it wouldn't stun me, and that makes things really interesting because from game 1 of the NLCS, those two look close. The Dodgers do not look good. That bullpen is going to break on them at some point. If they don't get a starter out there going at it like Snell last night with an all-time performance, they're not going to win. It's as simple as that. The Brewers are too good.
Will, what's new at Under the Knife?
We did previews for all the playoffs. I'm getting ready for the World Series. Got a ton of off-season stuff coming, new technologies, new surgeries, all sorts of stuff over there.
All right, go check it out. undertheknife.substack.com. That's where you can read all the great insights from the injury expert, Will Carroll, and you can hear him right here on Tuesdays on the Big Show, KTGR. Will, thanks for coming on. Hope you're well. Enjoy the week. We'll talk soon.
Thanks a lot, boys.
Big Show's on at 4:44, KTGR and the KTGR app. And we'll talk a little about that postseason and how that's gone so far, the LCS round. And, gosh, poor Bryce Terang, man. Just... he had stood in, but it's so hard to stand in.
I know.
And all that.
I thought we were going to be talking about the time that we saw him in AAA at your bachelor party.
Well, I was planning to bring that up.
I was going to bring it up. I was going to tweet about it, actually. He obviously didn't come through. So I was like, well, we're not going to bring that up. But now I guess we will.
We will. We'll talk some MLB playoffs, but that's all right. In the meantime, this is something I forgot to bring up yesterday, but it needed to be brought up. Oh my gosh, Kirby Smart, you think we're that dumb? You think that we are that dumb, Kirby? Come on, Kirby Smart. We'll get to that next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon, I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Mizzou football heading out for their first road trip of the regular season at Auburn as they take on the Tigers to try and bounce back from their loss against Alabama. Head coach Eli Drinkwitz was asked about what he'll expect from his team for what is their first road trip of the regular season, and harkened it back to what happened last year against Texas A&M when the Tigers fell much short against the Aggies.
First road game, we took our road game in August. So we're prepared for it. We went on the road in August. We know what to expect. So, yeah, we're not going to have that as an excuse.
Drake referring to the trip that Mizzou took to Lindenwood during fall camp to simulate a road game atmosphere. Tigers taking on the Tigers at 6:45 this Saturday. Yuengling Tiger Game Day show begins at 3:45 right here on KTGR. Blues a 5-2 winner last night over the Vancouver Canucks to move to 2-1 on the season. They host the Chicago Blackhawks tomorrow night at Enterprise Center. Puck drop set for 8:30. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking mostly clear skies tonight. It stays mild with low temperatures in the low 60s. Tomorrow's warm. We're going to see highs in the low 80s with mostly sunny skies. We continue the mild trend into Thursday with morning temperatures in the low 60s, highs in the lower 80s with mostly sunny skies. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Did you miss the Mizzou Play of the Week?
Prabula, 5 in the box for Bama. Fakes the handoff to Hardy, looks, throws it. Caught by Norfleet to the 10, to the 5, to the house. Touchdown, Missouri. Just floated it out to the 6'7" tight end on the right sideline for a 26-yard touchdown pass and a Missouri lead.
The Mizzou Play of the Week is powered by Yuengling. Your home for Mizzou football is KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for ProfitShares.com. If you love football and you love getting things right, ProfitShares.com is for you. You don't have to spend any money to play it. You can just sign up right now, and they'll give you an allotment of what they call profit dollars. That's PROPHET, because you're showing off your sports profit skills. And then use those to make predictions on who's going to win each college football game this weekend or pro football games. You can also make predictions on who's going to win the conference, who's going to win the championship at the end. You can also predict how certain players are going to do with the profit picks contests. And the more you get right, the more profit dollars you earn. And then you can use those to redeem for gift cards or charitable donations. It's that easy. And again, you pay nothing to play Profit Shares over on ProfitShares.com. So go sign up now, invite your friends, and get ready for the weekly contests this weekend over at ProfitShares.com. That's PROPHET, shares.com.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Stickland.
And I'm Sarah Stickland-McDonald of the Stickland & Stickland Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts. We know the towns. We know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field,
our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Stickland & Stickland.
Columbia just got armed. Minutemen Defense is your new destination for guns, ammo, and tactical gear that means business. From holsters and body armor to night vision and magazines, if you need it, they've got it. Plus, the cheapest ammo in town, guaranteed. Located right off I-70 and Rangeline for fast, easy access, locally owned, veteran approved, built for serious shooters. Minutemen Defense. Get there. Visit MinutemenDefenseLLC.com.
1851 Underground in Fulton is a unique spot with delicious menu items like the prime rib sandwich, sliced and stacked with pepper jack cheese, caramelized onion, creamy horseradish, and crispy onion straws, all on ciabatta bread. Grab some friends and check out the daily happy hour from 3 to 5, weekends included. Enjoy a craft beer or a cocktail. It's no secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
It's time to leave those regular malt beverages in the doghouse and adopt Lucky One Lemonade. Made with real vodka and real juice, Lucky One is a premium alcoholic beverage with no artificial flavors, no bubbles, and is only 100 calories. With 4 flavors, blueberry, peach, raspberry, and regular, and money from each pack sold goes to help rescue dogs find their forever home. Come taste Lucky One Lemonade at this year's Zimmer Tiger Tailgate. From backyard hangs to tailgate sips, Lucky One Lemonade is the upgrade that your cooler deserves.
From Branson Landing to the Capitol Dome, Union Station to the Tigers' home. Big old service is Missouri's best. I trust the team outpaces the best. Show me safe coverage wherever you go. We've got you covered at Big O.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
Kirby Smart says we should just look at the replay. And everyone's got eyes. Kirby Smart's saying everyone can lip read. I'm saying he's clapping. He's clapping. He was referring to, I guess, the defensive players for Auburn that were maybe or maybe not trying to simulate a snap by clapping, which has been a big point of emphasis by officials, and can't do that, obviously. It's a delay game if you do it. But we can also see Kirby Smart very clearly with his hands do the universal sign for timeout, which is like put your fingertips on your palm and like that, make a T with your hands like that. That's timeout. That's what you're doing, Kirby. But you're saying you're not doing it. This is not how you clap. I'm sorry. No, like, come on, Kirby.
The next question should have been, no, before you started clapping, what was that hand signal? Because that was timeout. Like, we can all acknowledge you were clapping, and that might have been what you were referencing. But before that, you were trying to call timeout, and kind of were given one anyway. You didn't have to expend one of those timeouts. So yeah, he got the benefit of that. And again, deflect, diffuse, hope that we all move on. Eventually, I guess we will. So he'll win that fight. They're not going to change the outcome of anything. So all's well that ends well for Kirby. But yeah, we can at least say, hey, dude, we're not that dumb. We know you're calling timeout.
And crickets from the league on that too. Like it's just, it's how it goes. We only put out statements about touchdowns when they might be the difference in the game, like they did between Oklahoma and Auburn. We don't comment about anything else.
Right.
Great strategy. Also, oh man, Brett Venables way under the bus with by the Big 12 Conference Twitter guy, essentially.
Yeah.
George Stoya covers the Sooners for On3 Sports. Says Brett Venables on playing in the SEC and it being a one-possession league. Quote, this isn't the old Big 12 days where Oklahoma destroys everybody every single week except one game of the year. Well, Big 12 Conference decided to point out when they retweeted it with the comment of Coach Venables lost 8 conference games in his 2 seasons in the Big 12.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a good fact check.
It's very well done by the Big 12 Conference there.
And look, I do think the SEC is tougher. I think there are more, games that championship caliber teams could find themselves on the wrong end of in the SEC than in other conferences and in the Big 12 in particular. But maybe right message, wrong messenger, because you're not that guy. You weren't that guy in that conference, and you're not that guy in this one so far.
If it was so easy to win, well, then Brett Venables, why didn't you win it? Like, come on.
Fair question.
That's the next question. For one, Brett Venables, Big 12's been very, very good with the PR game, and this is it's a very another example of that, I suppose.
They're feeling spicy, and I can kind of understand it because here we are talking down about the league, and after they've had some attrition, they've lost some teams, and they've had to rebuild it. But we've also talked about the Big 12 like respectable, the way that they've been able to kind of keep it afloat.
Well, I know it's a little sour coming after a loss. You'd much rather have it come after a win. But Ahmad Hardy honored with the Kia Player of the Month award given out by the College Football Hall of Fame contingency and is apparently voted on by fans. But Hardy named the Player of the Month in all of college football by this particular group. Had over 9 touchdowns. He had 9 touchdowns exactly, not over 9. Exactly 9 touchdowns in the month of September, averaged just under 7 yards a carry, over 700 yards combined during that month. Yeah, he's a beast. He very well could have been the best college football player within the month of September. Question is, can he continue it on into October, November, and see if the Heisman campaign can potentially really get kick-started. I think chance for it to happen against Alabama didn't quite happen, but still a chance for it to happen later.
It's got to get reignited, I would say, more so than kick-started, because it would have been it's taken a step back, because if there's even one game as a running back where people are going, you didn't do that much, not his fault, in my opinion. We've
I think you're right on that. Like, not
we've
really
belabored the point.
Yeah.
But, you then would need a standout one to get back in the, because I've already seen like everybody's top 10 lists. They gave him the nod for a little bit. He was in there, and now they're going, we kind of forget about you. But, this award doesn't forget about him, had the great stretch that he's had. And I do think more to come.
Yeah, we'll see what it looks like against Auburn. That team, I feel like Mizzou will want to try and control things a little bit more when they go into that hostile environment.
Be who you are. Be who you are. You're on the ground. Let's do it.
See if they can make that the bedrock this upcoming weekend. All right. What was good and bad and downright ugly from the past weekend of NFL football? You can call or text us with yours at 573-875-KTGR, or leave a comment on our YouTube channel as well to tell us what you think from the Chiefs game or the other NFL games that you watched this weekend. Also, with all of these college football openings, will it benefit the teams that essentially made the decision now to say goodbye to their head coach down the line? And will it be a trend that continues? We'll get to that at 5:25.
This weekend, cancel your plans. Brunch is calling at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Start with biscuits, not just any biscuits, local made, buttermilk, sweet corn, even gluten-free, smothered in scratch-made gravy, pork sausage, or the chorizo. Don't forget the loaded biscuit, fluffy omelet, drenched in gravy, stacked so high it's basically brunch art. And then there's the Dive Cristo, smoked ham, house-made raspberry jam, gooey cheese wrapped in a flaky puff pastry. The Monte Cristo wishes it was this good. Brunch Saturday and Sunday only at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Don't just eat, experience.
You know your former golf bag? It's not just holding up the weed whacker on your garage wall. It's also holding cash. Same goes for that rowing machine you swore you'd use once. At Play It Again Sports, turn your gently used gear into money in your pocket. Bring in your old golf equipment, fitness gear, softball bats, baseball cleats, and more. Cash out and keep it, or trade up to something better. Play It Again Sports in Columbia. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com.
Shangri-La is proud to be a part of every black and gold home game this season at the Zimmer Tiger Tailgate. Swing by our tent to play games, win prizes, and hang out with Missouri's top team of cannabis aficionados. Want to join the fun? Pick up your free Tiger Tailgate tickets at any Shangri-La location. Then come find us on game day. We'll be bringing the energy, the prizes, and the community spirit that makes Tiger football unforgettable. Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
My name is Taylor, and I have had insurance with Phyllis Nichols and her team for over 9 years. One of my first and only auto claims for me personally came when we were on a long road trip, and I was maybe following a semi-truck a little too close, and we all know when those rocks pop up, crack your windshield. First thing I did the next day was call Phyllis. Phyllis handled the whole thing. She got us into, I think, one of the local vendors to replace our windshield, and within 24 hours, it was done, it was over, and made it a very seamless process.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, Mid-Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
Sports Center. I'm Christine Lisi. The Dodgers hoping tonight's the night Shohei Ohtani finally gets going at the plate in Game 2 of the National League Championship Series against the Brewers. This postseason, the two-way megastar is hitting .138, 2 home runs, 5 RBI, and a .638 OPS. Part of his struggles are due to how opposing pitchers are pitching to him, explains ESPN MLB analyst Jessica Mendoza.
Every team has tried to get him with fastballs inside, and because of that, because he's swinging at them. It's one thing to get those pitches and take them, but because he's swinging at them, it's creating bad habits. So when he finally gets a cookie, he gets a pitch a little bit more over the middle. That front side is already now flying, and it makes him fly out weak to the left side of the field.
Game 2, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio. LA up 1-0 starts Yoshi Yamamoto against Milwaukee's Freddie Peralta. Buck star Giannis Antetokounmpo told Ant One's The Tonight Show he'd like to end his playing career in Greece after he retires from the NBA. The 30-year-old set to begin his 13th season with Milwaukee next week. He said he believes he can play in the NBA until he's 36 to 38 years old.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at progressive.com.
From Faro.
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush.
Back to the wall, and it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown! Kansas City.
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Week 6 of NFL action is in the books, so as we do every Tuesday, we will go through the good, the bad, and the ugly from what we saw this past NFL weekend. That's coming up in just a couple of minutes. And at 5:25, we'll get into more of the college football openings. Will it benefit teams to fire early? Is that a take that we'll look back on and still maintain, or will it maybe go the other direction on that? We'll dive into that topic at 5:25 and talk a little MLB playoffs before we get out of here today on the show. 573-875-5847. That's the number to call or text us to get involved with the program today. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Eli Drinkwitz addressed just how he compartmentalizes, as Gabe Yarman asked him earlier today, coaching rumors when they're starting to open up these jobs in Power 4 conferences and names get thrown around, including Drinkwitz's. His name was thrown out for Penn State after the James Franklin firing. We don't know how true it is or how much smoke there would be, but it was just thrown out there. And Drinkwitz mostly just putting it to the side and giving credit to the university mainly for everyone supporting him and the program and the players for being able to make this run that they have, but also categorically denying that Kirby Moore had contact with Arkansas during the last couple of weeks regarding their opening when Mizzou was still playing, of course, and Kirby Moore is still the OC. Bottom line, denied the fact that Moore was talking, but also brushed everything else aside. It's not really a question to answer at this point for a guy like him. He's in the middle of the season, but it's always a question that's going to be in the back of the minds now.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
So Mizzou men's basketball had a media day yesterday. They'll have SEC media day later this week as well. It's actually underway now. And Mizzou Hoops was picked to finish 7th in the conference this year. I feel like that's about right for what this team's makeup might be. But we'll see if Dennis Gates' group can maybe surprise a little bit more. An interesting collection of length that they added this year. And we'll see if it pays off as they start their season November 3rd at Howard.
Number 3.
Brett Venables got put in a body bag on Twitter for this one. A reporter for the Sooners relayed a quote saying that Venables essentially called the Big 12 a place where, Oklahoma could basically win every game except for one, or dominate every game except for one. And, well, the Big 12 Twitter account was quick to point out that Venables, while he was coaching Oklahoma for 2 seasons, he lost 8 conference games there. Yeah, not a great look for one Brett Venables.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it. Oh, it's so unfortunate for the Brewers. Bryce Terang was in there, bases loaded. You're down 1, 2 outs at the bottom of the 9th. You just stayed in, took the curveball to the leg. You would have been on base, brought in the tying run instead. He strikes out later. It's just unfortunate. We'll talk about how this postseason has looked coming up at 5:45. It's been some great action, some great drama so far. How do you like it?
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
This is just a perfect quote from Jerry Jones. Quote, well, if there's a trade that would help the defense, we're in position to make that trade. End quote. Really?
That's The Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
My goodness, you're open to a trade that could help the defense after making a trade that very much did not help the defense to start out the season. What do you know? It all comes back, Jerry.
Maybe they could get somebody like Micah Parsons on their team.
Oh, that's an idea.
I hate to just throw stuff
well
out there, but, he's a good player. but there's only so many of them. It's a finite resource. When you're talking about some of the top players in the league, there's only so many of those guys. So the problem with, let's trade for him, the teams that have those types of players,
I mean, they would never want to trade a guy like Mike Parsons, right? No,
they usually don't let him go. That's the point we're making.
Probably not. That was just perfect from Jerry today or yesterday, whenever it was. It was like he was asked that they were announcing that the East-West Shrine Bowl was going to be back there another year in the future, and asked obviously about his team, and said, "Oh well, we could trade to help out the defense." Oh boy, that's maybe in the ugly category, but we can go further on into what else was good and bad and ugly as we cue the music here. So tell us here on the Big Show from Week 6, what's your good, what's your bad, and what's your ugly from the past weekend of games in the NFL. 875-KTGR is the number to text us at or call us with your good, bad, and ugly, where you can leave a comment on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook account at KTGR Big Show over there and at KTGR Sports on YouTube. I mean, Chiefs very much in the good.
Very good. Yep.
I mean, yeah.
If there was a great, I'd put him there.
Yeah, I don't know what other complaints you could have about the way they played, at least this week.
None. You're going to give up a few points against the Lions, but they only gave up 17. I mean, they really, in that second half especially, just kind of took the Lions out of what they wanted to do offensively. It's a very good game defensively, and the offense is, as we have built it the last couple of weeks since since Worthy got back, and now, looky there, here comes Rashee Rice. So it's only going to get better from here is the way that I view it. That's a really good player that you're adding to the mix, and I expect it to continue to roll with him.
Yeah, I mean, the things looking very much on the up and up. Now just you have to find the consistency again, because this league can come back and bite you. You might think it's in the bag against the Raiders, but
don't assume the sale against the Raiders, because that will irritate the crap out of me if we come next Monday and it's like 17-13 they won, but it was disgusting, like scored 30. I think this Chiefs offense can score in the upper 20s to 30 points in any given game. There will inevitably be a couple, Andy, that don't go that way for whatever reason, but I want to see this first one with Rice be, let's continue to be that well-oiled machine. But yeah, looking back to week 6, I got nothing but good things to say. Other than Harrison Butker, we're still kind of
every week, man.
Always scared about what he might do to you.
That's just another thing you got to chalk up as a thing to worry about.
It's going to be scary in the playoffs. Their offense might be so good that it doesn't matter this year, but that is a little bit of a concern.
The thing I do wonder also with all this, I'm not going to call the Lions bad in the game. They weren't, to me at least, good though. It's and like the stuff when it comes to how they kind of lost their rhythm offensively in the middle portion of the game, and it allowed the Chiefs to start to lunge ahead. There are little things if the touchdown holds against on their opening drive, when they throw to Goff and he makes a very impressive catch, if you ask me, kind of bobbled it, but eventually brought it in against a DB who was trying to throw a block. If that touchdown holds up and Goff follows the motion the way that it should, then that touchdown's a pretty big one to swing the game early in the Lions' favor, and they don't settle for a field goal. I wonder what would have happened after that.
Yeah, but I mean, the game unfolded the way that it did, and I really think that the Lions disappointed. For as much as I credit the Chiefs, I have expectations of good teams, and when these two good teams match up, and it's anything other than like a final possession, somebody's got to win it, somebody's got to lose it, I'm gonna look at that team and be like, yeah, it's kind of bad. You didn't hold up your end of the bargain if you're the Lions in that game. And again, I'm a big Lions honk. I'm a Lions lean. I'm a Lions, I won't say fan, but I like them. They haven't beaten anybody yet this year.
No.
I'm not convinced the Ravens are ever going to turn it around to the extent that they make the playoffs. We'll see. They got to prove it to me first. But other than them, you don't really have a signature win if you're Detroit right now. You've played the Packers and the Chiefs, and you haven't played them close. You lost both those games by about a couple of touchdowns. So that'll be something I look for moving forward, is like, all right, we had a few weeks where we looked at the Lions and said, they're the same. Let's see, because I want to see it against somebody that's going to make the postseason.
They'll get the Bucks this weekend, so
that's a
go.
team that's going to make the postseason. So I'd probably take the Bucks right now, Andy. I've been making money betting Baker Mayfield just about every week, and so I'm probably not going to look away from that until I'm given a reason to do otherwise.
All right, let's go out to the KTGR hotline. Give us your good, bad, and ugly from NFL Week 6. Who's this? Hello, who's this? You're on the Big Show. I guess we'll see if he can come back at another point.
I would say that Baker Mayfield, by the way, as I bring him up, is in the good for
Very
me.
much in the good.
Did you see that run he made where he's lunging for a first down and just, snaking his way through the defense? That guy just is the epitome of tough. And it hasn't mattered really that they lose all their receivers to injury. They're just continuing to roll. Hopefully they get some of those guys back soon. As we talked with Will Carroll, it's going to be a little time for Igbuka, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. But, man, Tez Johnson, the rookie out of Oregon, who was a really good story from the draft, makes an end-over-end flip touchdown on a long ball. Did you see what happened on the sideline after that with Tez Johnson, the rookie wide receiver? Are you aware of this?
No.
Okay, so I'll lay the scene for you. He was talking to Sterling Shepard, his teammate, and said, man, I scored a touchdown. It was awesome, but why are the fans chanting MVP? I haven't done anything all year. What are they talking about? He said, Baker threw you the ball, brother.
It's not you.
Sorry,
buddy.
He said, I'm sorry. I'm a little slow. Like, they had him all mic'd up for it. It was really funny. And the Bucs shared it on their social media. But that was pretty good. Baker Mayfield, MVP, I don't think that's wrong. I would put him in that top 5 right now.
In the conversation. Yeah. I will say Mahomes, I think, is near the top of that conversation.
Mahomes is number one.
Yeah.
It didn't take much for me to say that. He's number one, and I expect him to.
But Baker, I would put
there.
number 2 right now. Baker is in that order at the moment. And then you can figure out other guys down the line. Bijan Robinson, I think, needs to be in that category. Man, he was awesome yesterday.
He's in the good. Falcons defense in the good. We kind of poked fun at that Boston College coach. Was it Jeff Ulbrich is his name?
Yes.
That left Boston College to be their DC.
No. That's Jeff Hafley. Hafley. He left
Where
for
did
Green
Ulbrich
Bay.
come from?
Ulbrich was the interim coach last year for the Jets after they fired Robert Saleh, and now he's.
I apologize for getting my Jeffs wrong, but this guy's got him going.
I mean Jeff Parles probably is coaching the Jets at some point. So
probably so. That defense, I think they got popped by the Panthers, but otherwise, and like the inconsistency, we got to get a little bit more steadiness out of Michael Penix Jr. But otherwise, there's a lot to like about this Falcons team. And I mean, they played some really, really tough defense against Josh Allen last night. They had a plan for him. Every time Josh Allen thought he was going to take off and scramble, they were basically bringing him down at the line of scrimmage. That Falcons team in the NFC South, and we're not really accustomed to having maybe more than one team in that division that's capable. I think there are 2 that could end up in the postseason this year. It's obviously the Bucs, and don't sleep on the Falcons. They look decent right now.
Oh, don't sleep on the Falcons. But then the very next week they're going to lay an egg. Like
they're going to lose 27-0 to the to an FCS
at
school.
At the Niners next week. I don't think the Falcons win that game, but then
I actually do. The Niners have used up their Mac Jones magic. Yeah, I mean, I think that they used up all of their devil magic on that Rams Thursday night game. They got to get Brock Purdy back before the Niners are going to be trusted again.
Though
he might be. We'll see.
Yeah, it will be win-loss, I think, for a while for the Falcons, if you ask me.
What's their record right now, though? They're in a pretty good
spot.
They're
3-2. It's been
they had a bye week. That's right.
Been loss, win, bye week, win for the Falcons to this
at
point.
the Falcons, or excuse me, at the Niners, they'll host the Dolphins, win. At the Pats is a sneaky, interesting game.
Loss.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
They're leading the division right now after the Bills lost.
Yeah.
What do we make of the Patriots? How do we, they didn't play the best of opponents this week, but they're quietly getting it done. And I think Drake May is really coming into his own. They get a road win. I don't care where you're playing as a young quarterback. That's not an easy thing to do. 25-19 at the Saints, which watching some of that game, their fans don't care if you're 0-15.
No, that's
they
tough
are
place
loud.
to go and play.
That is not easy. They were getting after it in that game. It's a 1-score game. Patriots, man, and if you look at theirs, have you seen their schedule? Because they very well could win.
They're so cupcakes everywhere, man.
Titans, Browns, Falcons, Jets, Bengals still remaining.
Giants are in there.
Well, Giants are a good team now too, but they get
then
the Jets obviously twice.
Finish with the Jets and the Dolphins. Obviously, you get to play them twice every year. Like that helps you.
It's a division that has been waiting for another team to rise up, because if you do, you get to, again, right, you play the Jets, you play the Dolphins twice. That doesn't hurt. And they beat the Bills, so they're in the driver's seat right now of the AFC East, and firmly in the good. Everything that Vrabel's doing, I know he's your guy.
I'm still not sold on him, but fine.
Annoying me when it comes to the Travion Henderson usage, but whatever you do to win games, I think I have to let the fantasy football stuff go when you're winning football games, and the Pats are.
Call or text us 875-KTGR here on the Big Show. I have one more good before we get to the bad.
Okay.
Look, man, Bears are 3-2 now. Bears are 3-2.
That was an impressive
wins.
And Caleb did his job. DeAndre Swift needs to get a shout out.
That's a big man. Yeah.
That game the rain was coming down in the fourth quarter, and I kind of thought, man, they're down 8. They really need a jolt here. And Caleb threw in the ball, which I appreciate for fantasy. I have Caleb on a lot of my teams. But DeAndre Swift tiptoeing the sideline, scoring, I believe it was a 55-yard touchdown. Caleb needs to see Monungai coming out of the backfield for the 2-point conversion. He was open in the flat.
Oh, yeah.
And they would have been able to tie the game there. But you know what? That last drive, again, they run the ball. And credit to Jake Moody as well. He's been through the ringer after, getting fired by the 49ers. He comes in and was the hero under some difficult conditions last night. I was kind of worried the fact that they were settling for a field goal try when you're down in the game. If you're tied, it's one thing. I thought, keep running, Swift. You might end up in the end zone. Over would have hit. Who's counting? But that was really impressive to have him get that done in the clutch when the rain was coming down.
How do you win back-to-back games 25-24? That takes skill. That's just precision right there. Beat the Raiders.
I mean, it's
25-24.
It's the Bears, man.
Yeah.
There's always something funky that's gonna happen from time to time.
All right. The bad. Well, I think the bad it certainly is the Eagles. I mean, I know it seems like forever ago, but we have to bring it up here. And more so ugly. I'll actually say ugly on the
It's
Bills.
ugly for the Eagles, but it is a credit to the Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to. It's both. Sometimes it's one or the other, but in this one, it's both. Wow, are the Giants a different vibe right now? I'm not even counting them out against the Broncos with that tough defense this week. Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, for as long as Scatterbo is CTE free, man, he's going to continue to be a stud. But
what is it with that? Like, what is that?
It's not going to last forever. Is all I'm saying.
Come on. Why just for him though? We're talking about every player that is susceptible to that. Come on.
But he like, what was the story about him getting in his older brother's pads and running into telephone poles when he was a kid? Like that came from his mom or something. The Scatterbo legend is kind of one where you don't know what's real and you don't know what's hyperbole at this point. The memes are very funny, but him and Jackson Dart, man, they got something cooking right now, and I'm into it, man. So I'm crediting the Giants. Don't want to take anything away from them. But if you're the Eagles, the fact that it happened to you after the loss to the Broncos, this was supposed to be your bounce back.
And it was over by like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That's ugly.
It was one of the biggest blowouts of the season in the NFL, let alone from a playoff team like the Philly Eagles, excuse me.
The Phillies, yeah. Well, they also did not have a great day that exact same night. That was not Friday. Was an all-timer on local radio in Philly, I'm sure. Friday morning.
Oh, yep.
I mean,
that had to sting.
That's something. But yeah, no, very, very ugly in that situation. Cowboys, I'll just call them bad. That can't happen.
They give up 30 no matter who they face, man. That's tough.
Yeah. I wonder why Jerry Jones thinks, we should probably help out this defense with the trade. Yeah, that's a novel concept. But yeah, just straight bad. I don't even want to call the Panthers good for it. Like, sure, yeah, wonderful.
Did what they had to do. Rico Dowdle, he's been a stud. I don't think he's going to be seeing the bench even when Chuba Hubbard returns. I believe that was one of the fantasy football tips I gave out on Thursday. I said, if Hubbard is out, you play Rico Dowdle, and he exploded once again. So I guess I'm 1 for 59 on the season on those play, fade, eliminate calls. Here's another thing I want to bring up. The Seahawks, very good. Go on the road, beat the Jags. Yeah, that defense played well. Look, that was the other game. The two were the Chiefs -2.5, and at least the line opened with the Jags favored, or excuse me, the Seahawks favored on the road in Jacksonville. Those are the two where I was like, I don't know. And sure enough, both of them ended up being correct, because those two teams that I was not so sure they should have been favored ended up winning the game and did so rather convincingly. Sam Darnold, it's time to probably just stop doubting him. I think coming into the year, I had much lower expectations for the Seahawks, but they're 4-2, and like they're doing it against other teams that have 4 wins, like the Jaguars do.
Where would you rank Jackson Smith and Jigba on the list of wideouts in the NFL right now?
I probably don't have to use a second hand to count. I mean, he's
really okay.
Yeah, he was always a dog. I mean, at Ohio State, he was a dog. And you were waiting for it to happen at the NFL level. Well, thankfully, he was probably my number one preference in the 3rd round of fantasy drafts this year. I was a little skeptical because I wasn't sure about the Darnold thing, but I kept looking at JSN going, man, he's going to break out. He gets whatever he wants. Now, I do see a lot of people say he's always wide open. How has it happened? But credit to whatever they're doing over there offensively to scheme it up and allow for him to be in the situations to make plays.
That's not even scheme. Like that's on the wideout. Like you run your route. And
he gets separation, like,
and you earn the targets that you get by being open and everything like that. So
there's always going to be the Jamar Chases and the Jeffersons and the guys that, like, even if they're not having a standout year today, Malik Neighbors is hurt. He'd be on that list for me. And you can probably Puka Nacua, obviously sucks that he had a little bit of an injury situation. I don't have to probably name very many other names. CeeDee Lamb, and then JSN's in that tier, in my opinion, at this point. How could he not be with the way that he's playing this year?
I mean, the way that he's pacing that offense has been pretty impressive. Call or text us 875-KTGR with your good and bad and ugly from this past weekend of NFL football. 875-KTGR if you want to give us your thoughts on that. We'll get more coming very soon on that front. We'll get some of your texts and your calls on it. But up next, these college football openings that are coming earlier and earlier, it seems, or a lot more are opening up mid-season, is actually going to help out those programs to pick themselves up after those firings. We'll get to that next year on The Big Show.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. But wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state, only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You know that expression, put a little spring in your step? Well, whoever said it must have been talking about Glide Step hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Because with Glide Step, you get a pillow-like soft landing, then an explosive takeoff. It makes walking feel effortless. So springy, it's almost like you're floating. And speaking of effortless, have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins technology? Just step in and instantly your shoes are on. No bending down and no touching. Try Glide Step hands-free Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Everyone has their go-to game day outfit. Maybe it's a comfy black and gold hoodie or that old hat you wear because it still hasn't been to a losing game. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you really want to stand out on game day, talk to the team at Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia. Rock your favorite team's colors with a beautifully designed, one-of-a-kind custom piece of jewelry from Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia, our hometown jeweler. MIZBETZ.
Beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
Welcome to Macadoodles. Macadoodles does game day like nobody else. Whether you're tailgating or hosting a watch party, Macadoodles has you covered. With more than 3,200 wine labels, 1,500 spirits, and 600 craft and imported beers, and delivery right to your tailgate or doorstep, the days of making a beer run are over. Macadoodles delivers, providing unmatched selection at unbeatable prices. Drive through today or come inside and experience our world-class customer service. Who does game day like nobody else? Macadoodles does.
This is Nevada Schauke with True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, and I'm the Exterior Director of Sales. In the construction industry, the last few years, we've had a roller coaster ride. One thing that has stayed pretty consistent or common is that vendors have continued to raise prices on materials. We have called up to collaborate with some of our large vendors that we work with to offer some year-end promotions. If you're looking to replace your roof, upgrade your deck to composite, replace your old worn-out windows and doors, give us a call. We also offer several financing options to meet most budgets. Your project must be purchased by the end of the year. This is a unique opportunity to save some money on your next home renovation.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. FPP Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP Easy's 1, 2, 3. Award-winning auto collision repair. Don't wait, we're great. We work with all insurance companies. We work with all insurance companies. Yes, we work with your insurance company. New Bloomfield, Missouri. FPPBodyShop.com. 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 Fletcher, Performance and Paint.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
You can keep texting us your good, bad, and ugly from week 6 of the NFL, 875-KTGR with Andy and Brendan here on the Big Show. We'll get to some texts here. Shane saying the good was definitely the way the Chiefs played. Not one accepted penalty. Again, that was a very impressive part about it, which I love and I also hate, because the haters will just take that and say, oh, it's rigged. No penalties. When does that ever happen?
I was going to say, I don't think you want that if you're the Chiefs. I think you want one penalty to be called just so you don't have
let
that.
Jawan Taylor false start once in a situation where it doesn't matter.
Just do us a solid and call it. It's a 13-point game. But no, it does show an improvement to discipline, because we can't have it both ways. We can't, complain about them for being undisciplined in some games, and then they show impeccable discipline and then say, oh, the refs are, giving them a benefit. So no, credit where it's due. They played a really, really clean game against a good opponent.
Those wise guys over at UTEP think otherwise, I suppose. Did you see that?
No, what happened?
There were researchers at UT El Paso. They came up with a study and said, the Chiefs from 2015 to 2023 have generally gotten a good benefit from officials' calls and defensive penalties that have created several first downs that the referees have been slant. Oh my goodness.
They probably have, but deal with it. I don't know what to say. It's funny to me at this point.
Yeah, the NFL back in 2015 decided, before Patrick Mahomes was even on their radar, hey, back in 2015, let's rig things for Kansas City instead of New York or.
What I like is, why did you start it in 2015? Why did you start your data set? Was 2014 included that didn't give you the result you wanted?
Man,
if you had started
Alex
in 2017,
Smith got the benefit of every call.
No, I would bet you 2015 was an outlier year toward them, to where they're like, oh, we have to put this in the data set, otherwise it doesn't really kind of tell the story we want it to.
That's exactly what happened.
That's called statistics, baby. It's pretty good stuff.
Fudge the numbers somehow.
Selective data point.
Yep. Shane's bad was the Jets-Broncos game. I mean, I'd just call that just flat ugly.
You know what?
Yeah.
Every 8:30 a.m. Central start is bad. They're so hard to watch. I can't ever figure out a way to watch them. So to me, it's like they don't even happen. But invariably, I'll look at my phone and go, crap, somebody already is in my fantasy lineup locked in there that I didn't want to play. And so that happens about every week. I am plumb tired of those international games, but it doesn't sound like I'm going to get my wish anytime soon.
Never going to have that be the other way.
Nope.
There'll only be more of them.
There'll only be more. I just hate the 8:30 thing, because I just am not locked in yet to my fantasy
When would
lineup.
You do it? When would you have the game?
When would I do it?
Yeah.
I would. Now, again, you're asking when I would do it. I would do it at noon.
Well, but again, what's the point of even playing internationally if you're just going to have that game happen at the same time as all the other regular games?
I told you I didn't want it to happen in the first place. If you're asking me and let me choose when, I'll put them at the same time as all the other games, so we don't have to treat it like it's special.
Yeah,
I don't care that you are in London watching it in person. I'm still on my couch. It doesn't make a difference to me. Why do I have to have it at a different time on a channel that you won't let me stream? It is the most ridiculous thing in the world that I can have a subscription to NFL Network, but I can't stream it on my smart TV unless I have Super Plus, Super Duper NFL. It's ridiculous every year, and I will gladly with glee find an illegal stream just to watch it because I pay for the thing. It should allow me to watch it freely. So that's my one thing where it's like almost everything else. If you've got the cable subscription, you're able to just stream it. There's an app for that. But the NFL, no. We say you can watch it with an NFL Network subscription, but we're lying to you. You can't. Unless you have a laptop.
KTGR. Call or text us with your good, bad, and ugly. Shane's ugly was the Lions player at the end of the game, Brian Branch.
Brian Branch. He got suspended for it. Rightfully.
Yep, he did.
I mean, that was one game, no pay. That's fair.
That is the punishment that I would have been just fine with. And yeah, hopefully that prevents other situations. Niner A says, I don't have a good for this week.
Well, why not?
But my bad and ugly.
Niners didn't win.
My bad and ugly is losing Fred Warner. Not only did we lose probably the best linebacker in the game right now, but team leader, that one really hurt. Yeah, it does. It really does.
There's been said that basically Christian McCaffrey has sucked up the life form of all of his teammates in order to stay healthy this year. There's speculation that that's what's taking place. Quarterback's hurt. You're starting Kendrick Bourne. Your tight end's hurt. You're starting
Bourne's
Jake
good,
Tongas. You're starting DeMarcus Robinson, Marcus Valdez-Scantling. I mean, that's
Sky Moore getting some reps this week, you think?
Yeah, maybe? That's brutal situation. And then you mentioned it now, the defense is starting to suffer as well. There's only so much that Kyle Shanahan can do, you know?
Yeah, it's a bleak situation, but they have a good record still. The 4-2 still.
I know.
They're in it. Can't give up.
Yeah, that's a funky division because I gave props to the Seahawks. Rams, Ravens, I really won't put the Rams in a category because I have lowered my standard for the Ravens so much that, 17-3, you probably should have scored more on them. But the Ravens, they're done until Lamar comes back. They put up 3 points at home. What are they supposed to do, man?
Good, man. Cooper Rush is just not that guy anymore that can just step in and be the.
He's not that guy any less, but but you're right. With the Cowboys, he did.
Well,
step in a couple of times.
I'm saying he was capable with that team, but for whatever reason, he is not with this one. And
it's not working. I don't know if he's not similar enough. We've often talked about when you have those mobile quarterbacks, you kind of want the backup that's a mobile quarterback. And Tyler Huntley came into the game. He's back with the Ravens, but honestly, he probably starts next week if Lamar can't go.
They're on bye. They have a bye this week, and then Lamar could come back the week after.
Sneaky, probably still going to put in a claim on Tyler Huntley for my Superflex league just in case, because we don't know that Lamar is going to be back for sure, but they need him back. There's no doubt about that.
875-KTGR. Give us a call or a text with your good, bad, and ugly from NFL Week 6. Okay, so obviously Eli Drinkwitz addressed the coaching rumors swirling around everywhere today. And look, there's reason for the coaching rumors. It's not necessarily specific to here, but it's just the fact that this year there have been several mid-season firings across college football in at pretty visible jobs like at Arkansas, Penn State, UCLA, and you wonder about the jobs that could follow after that. It could be a very interesting coaching carousel during college football this offseason. So is it going to benefit teams if you're thinking about whether or not your coach is the guy and you're kind of leaning towards no? Well, how far do you have to lean towards no to pull the trigger before you play your last game? And will it actually help you to get into the market now as opposed to wait until the season's done?
Well, I think we've got to acknowledge the room for a middle ground here. Your last game versus now, there's a big gap in there.
Sure.
So does October 14th make a difference compared to November 14th?
No,
probably not.
No.
Because for Penn State, and it's not just Drink, but there are people making that thought that Drink, they might be interested in Drink. But Matt Rule is obviously a name that's being brought up because he played for Penn State. He's coaching at Nebraska. He had some interesting comments as well today that sort of told me, basically, read between the lines, if I'm not taking the Penn State job, it's because you guys are ponying up more money so I can get done here what I need to get done here. He basically said, like, citing teams that have $28 million and $30 million rosters and basically saying, I want Nebraska to do that. And so that's probably only going to feed the speculation. I would love them to hire Matt Rule because of obvious reasons. But I think it's one of those things where doing it now, you're probably, if you've done it already, it was done out of frustration. It was done out of spite a little bit. Like, we cannot believe we lost to Northwestern and UCLA. We were supposed to be a national contender. Get out of here, James Franklin. It's like that. Arkansas, we got embarrassed by Notre Dame. Get out of here, Sam Pittman. Enough is enough. UCLA, that had to, Deshaun Foster was terrible. That had to happen. So I guess the question would be, between now and like mid-November, is there a big difference? Not at all. I don't think doing it in week 7 versus week 8 versus week 10 is really going to be, because this can't really start yet, can it? Unless it's a coach that's not in a job right now. I don't mean legally. I just mean realistically.
You can absolutely talk to agents and you can work the back channels and start your search.
Yeah.
Now, if you really wanted to, but it would be hard to get actual interviews going that would be big enough that people would find out about it. Right.
Or to hire you're not going to hire somebody yet either.
No, you're not going to hire a firm yet. No,
you gotta let this, or a coach. I mean, you got to let the season play out a little bit, because the person that you're probably trying to poach is busy. He's doing something right now. So does it benefit him? I don't think so. I think they make the decision for other reasons. Like, I don't know, with UCLA, you're seeing an immediate turnaround to where you look at that and you say, okay, can we identify why this has happened and what we want to retain from that? Yeah. The offensive coordinator kid is getting more credit than the coach himself, the interim head coach.
Yeah.
But do they decide that the interim head coach is doing a darn fine job and they want to keep him? Do they decide, this new Heisel, we want to make sure he's prominently featured in the next, because he's on his way to getting a job somewhere if they don't. So, yeah, I think that's the benefit, is like, if you've got candidates that you want to see what they're made of on the interim basis. Bobby Petrino, like this, ask Bobby Petrino if it's good that they fired Sam Pittman already. He's going to get some runway to be able to show everything that they need to see before they dig a little bit deeper into what they want the future to look like. The interim doesn't always get the job, but it doesn't hurt from that perspective. So I think those are two situations. Penn State, I don't even know who's in charge right now or whether it'll matter. But in those other two jobs, which are a little less prominent, because neither of them were expected to be national contenders this year. No. But UCLA and Arkansas, they've got internal candidates that are getting a chance to shine right now. So I think that benefits, but I don't think anything from the outside is like, oh, we get a jump on the hiring process compared to doing it in November. Not really. No.
I mean, you at least build the contact, but there's always things can fall apart. It's all about timing. As far as how a coach feels once his season is done, like, okay, do I want to take this other job? Because again, they'll know that you're contacting them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're first in line at times. I would think. So there is that aspect of it. I wonder how the players get affected by it too. Like, do you have more clarity as to who's leaving and who's staying? Once you say, hey, the head coach isn't staying, maybe the players get more of a chance to evaluate where they're at, and they start to think more about whether they want to stay there. And then you can start to tell coaches or agents, like, okay, we think that these players are going to be hanging around, or things like that.
Yeah, but I don't think that you can't possibly know that, because the players are going to wait to see who's the coach before they decide.
That's true.
Definitively.
Right.
Whether to hang around. So yeah, like having longer to sit with it maybe can prevent a rash decision. I'll bet you a lot of kids, and some are already going to, enter into that, but a lot of kids would probably instant their coach gets fired, think, I'm out of here. But if they don't make that decision and they want to continue to play the season, especially if like they've already played 4 games, and so there's no redshirt possibilities, like they're just in it for this year, play football, show off, and be able to either, have a role on the same team next year if you want, or you can showcase yourself for the portal. I think having the ability to at least play through that and sit with that allows for the opportunity, especially if there is some continuity from one staff to the next, to retain some players. That's where I think about the UCLA situation is like, and even with Arkansas and Petrino, if they're able to have some success and if you're that organization, do you want to retain the interim because you think it gives you a potential leg up to keep the players? Because if they won with the same players, that continuity, but like, do you make a decision that's going to be lasting for 5-10 years and have implications down the road because of our interim won 4 games instead of 2? Like, I don't know if that's the way those decisions are going to get made either.
No, probably not. The other thought I had was I don't know if the jump start to your search, however much you can do it now, if you said goodbye to your head coach, I don't know how much it helps you with recruiting this time around, because the portal's going to be later. Like, portal's going to be in January, and the coaches are going to have the cycles are not going to be happening at the exact same time, to the point where when you're rushing to hire your head coach because all of a sudden you need to get a jump on the portal because guys are going to leave. And so you got to be quick to add a coach so that he can start adding the players. But the players are going to have more time to decide on their situation. And then the adding is going to happen a lot later now than it used to. And so those new head coaches every head coach is going to be on more of a level playing field when it comes to that, regardless of whether you're a new coach at your spot or not. So I don't think it's all that helpful anymore from that aspect. If you're firing your coach now, that means we can get them quicker, and that means they can get a jump on the portal quicker, because the portal's later.
The portal when was the portal before, though?
It was right after the conference championships. Portal opened up, and so players can enter in.
So, but my thought is, during bowl season, are we probably still going to get people reporting like so-and-so is going to enter the portal? It just won't officially have happened yet.
Yeah, but you can't add until someone has entered the portal, and they officially can't do that until January.
Can you contact players until before that point, or is that going to be one of those things?
It's
what do they call it in the NFL? The legal tampering?
Illegal tampering, and now it's legal tampering.
Illegal versus legal. Is there going to be a tampering period, or are we going to look the other way on that?
I'm sure, the same way that players probably, or agents at least, probably let coaches know, like, hey, this player is going to be in it, like during the season. It probably happens a lot of different places. And so, we'll probably see a little bit of that. But again, you can't officially add until they enter in and they start to see what interest happen.
Unofficially, a lot happens.
Sure.
They might know how much interest is in them before they enter in some cases, kind of like the entering with a no contact tag. Well, why would you do that? You already know where you're going. That's still going to happen. But no, I don't think there's a benefit. I think these coaches that are being fired this early aren't being fired because the team wants to get a jump on hiring the next coach. They're fed up with the last one. That's what inspires a decision to happen in early October. I don't think that's a hot take either.
No, I don't think so. I would just, as a potential candidate for said job, like, obviously you're going to, if you haven't been a head coach before, being a head coach at one of those jobs will certainly be attractive to you just because it's a head coaching job. You wonder how much leeway you're going to get based on how certain situations, certainly with UCLA, like after 3 games, things went really sour, obviously. And it's one of those situations where when you're firing that early into the season, it means that it should have happened after last season.
Yeah, but also it was a train wreck. I mean, when it's that bad as it was for UCLA in the beginning, you couldn't anticipate, like, you're letting a guy have the opportunity to have it play out a certain way, and then it goes the complete opposite of that, and you're like, well, this isn't changing anytime soon. And they weren't wrong to fire him when they fired him. Like, you could make the case that last year they could have done it. I don't know. When they did it this year was appropriate for sure, because they've since immediately turned things around. So, like, it's not like you're regretting the decision. I guess you could regret that you didn't make it earlier.
Right. That's the thing. It doesn't mean that you keep him for longer because you missed your chance to do it. Like,
no.
Do it once you feel like it's the right decision to make. Yeah. And that's what they did.
They came out extremely flat. Like, with the coach they had, they attracted Nico to come to UCLA, right? Like, that was obviously, he maybe didn't have a lot of options at that point, but that was still, like, they chose to bring him in very interesting, the fact that like that coach probably had something to do with it and was at least aware of it and was in favor of it rather than taking Aguilar. And then Aguilar goes to Tennessee and he's looked pretty good. They've got a very good offense. So those things are interesting. But like, let me put it this way. If Auburn or Florida, as examples, have rough seasons and they end up firing their coaches at some point, I don't think because Arkansas and UCLA were open earlier that suddenly those schools are going to have a leg up on picking their choice over an Auburn or a Florida, because I think Auburn and Florida are better jobs.
Yeah.
That's
fair. And Penn State will still, regardless of whether it happened at the end of the season or now, like that's probably at the top of the list.
I think Penn State is above the others that we've talked about. I like Clemson is still one where I'm like, would they really, if it goes really, really bad, would they consider parting with Dabo? Because like Clemson and Penn State to me are kind of similar, but like Penn State, here's the one thing that I'll say for Penn State that's going to be attractive to anybody, which is why I love really thinking back to the atmosphere that we saw at Memorial Stadium against Alabama. They pack the place. I mean, Penn State fans really do. It almost seems like it doesn't matter. They get people in the building and it's a huge capacity and they sell it out. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing that I really do feel better about, because if we were talking about comparing Mizzou to some other jobs before this sellout streak, that was no cheap sellout either against Alabama. Like that place was rocking. I know that Eli Drinkwitz is proud of that and knows the big time hand he's had in building that himself. And so there's personal pride in that and being able to see through, by the way, all the projects and stuff that are going. Again, it's probably wrong to continue to talk about it, because by talking about it, it's almost like we're feeding into it. But no, I think what Mizzou's got in front of them is the focus. And that's what Drink tried to say today. And he's right.
We'll get some more of your texts on that. 875-KTGR if you want to let your voice be heard there. After this, live local sports center.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Mizzou preparing for its first road game of the regular season as they visit the Auburn Tigers at 6:45 on Saturday. Head coach Eli Drinkwitz was asked about how the team is looking to avoid a type of performance that they had in their first road game last season at Texas A&M when the Tigers lost big down in College Station. Here was Eli Drinkwitz's response.
Yeah, this isn't the first road game. We took our road game in August. So we're prepared for it. We went on the road in August. We know what to expect. So, yeah, we're not going to have that as an excuse.
Drinkwitz referring to the trip that Mizzou made to Lindenwood during fall camp to help simulate the process of going on the road. Tigers kick off again at 6:45 on Saturday. And the Blues yesterday with a 5-2 victory at the Vancouver Canucks to move to 2-1 so far on the young season. Blues return home for a rivalry game against the Chicago Blackhawks. Puck drop set for 8:30 at Enterprise Center. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking mostly clear skies tonight. It stays mild with low temperatures in the low 60s. Tomorrow's warm. We're going to see highs in the low 80s with mostly sunny skies. We continue the mild trend into Thursday with morning temperatures in the low 60s, highs in the lower 80s with mostly sunny skies. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
It may not be a Tiger home game, but the party still goes on. KTGR and Yingling are hosting watch parties for every MU football road game this season at the Deuce Pub and Pit. Hang out with the hosts of The Big Show. Enjoy free flight by Yingling while they last and root on the Tigers. Plus free giveaways and a chance to win tickets for future football and basketball home games.
Hey, it's Andy. We'll see you at the Deuce this Saturday at 6:45 when the Tigers take on Auburn.
Find all the details on the KTGR app.
You know your former golf bag? It's not just holding up the weed whacker on your garage wall. It's also holding cash. Same goes for that rowing machine you swore you'd use once. At Play It Again Sports, turn your gently used gear into money in your pocket. Bring in your old golf equipment, fitness gear, softball bats, baseball cleats, and more. Cash out and keep it, or trade up to something better. Play It Again Sports in Columbia. Think of them first so you don't finish last. PlayItAgainSportsColumbiaMo.com. It was 2:30 on a Tuesday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing answered the call. It was a dismayed wife. Fresh off vacation, her and her hubby came home to a wrecked water heater. It had sprung a leak, a bad one. So while the plumbing team took care of that leaky water heater, Brian's certified restoration guide, Josh, with 2 decades of experience, came in to restore the area and stop mold in its tracks. Another day, another job, another expert added to the team. Ho-hum. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
Every single day, you're making a first impression on thousands of people online. And you might not even realize it. Your website has real marketing power. It can showcase your products and services, promote special offers, and reach a much wider audience through search engines and social media. And if you're doing it right, your website will change and evolve with your growing business. Make sure the first impression you're making is a lasting one with Zimmer Communications. You know business, we grow business. ZimmerCommunications.com.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Stickland.
And I'm Sarah Stickland McDonald of the Stickland & Stickland Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field.
Our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Stickland & Stickland.
We're moving faster and faster these days with limited time to make an impact on potential customers. Hi, this is Jimmy at Pro Design. For nearly 2 decades, we've worked with companies to build strong brands. At Pro Designs, our team can create a vehicle wrap to drive market share, growth, and profits. Connect with your customers on the go, on the road, and on the job site.
Visit us on the web at PRODEZIGNS.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Hey, it's Molly from Billiards, and we're gearing up for football, y'all.
Molly, football's already going. Take 2.
Guess it's time to put on my cuddle duds.
Molly, that's not till November. Take 3.
Well, I guess we'll talk about the pumpkin spice menu items at Billiards.
Molly, at last check, we have nothing on the menu with pumpkin spice. Take 4, and you hate it.
When some things feel wrong, Billiards just feels right.
Yep, that'll work.
Looking on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
Whoops, don't know if I saved that.
Josh!
I'm Michael Agnew with API Project Fitness. At API, we're dedicated to helping you reach your fitness goals with workouts that are motivating, challenging, and effective. Our group classes are high energy and designed to maximize your time with efficient movements and smooth flow. There are real results here to find, whether you're just starting out or ready to push it to the next level. API is where hard work meets progress. Everyone needs a fitness routine. Let us be yours. Sign up today for a free trial at APIProjectFitness.com.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
Lots of good thoughts from you guys on our texter today. Steve texting, one would have to be incredibly naive to think Drink hasn't been leveraging his success at the very least, and not many of us could comprehend of what it would feel like to be offered the amount of money that he will be offered. Not wrong. We don't know. We're not in Drinkwitz's head. And no, I've never been offered that type of money before, ever.
And I'm going to maintain that if it comes down to, looking at another job, it's not going to be money that's the thing he's gaining. It's just not.
You don't think so?
No, he can leverage the offers to get more from Missouri, but Missouri will match it. Missouri is not going to be outbid. Am I crazy to think that? We just talked about last week. He's 10th in the nation in coaching.
I'm just saying, don't be
get a raise.
disappointed, right? Like, it's just like anything can happen. I will not rule out any scenarios.
If Drinkwitz ever took a different job, he's going to get a raise.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the reason he leaves. Money is not going to be the reason he leaves.
Okay.
If he were to leave. I don't think that's a hot take. Missouri has demonstrated that they have given him everything he could want or need and will continue to do so. They might have to pony up more if the overtures come the way that we expect that they will because of the season Mizzou's about to have and is currently having. But no, I don't think it's going to be. What are they paying him? $9 million? What's Penn State going to pay him? By the way, I don't think James Franklin was above Eli Drinkwitz in salary. I could be wrong about that, but
yeah, but they could obviously, be above whatever.
They're going to take the Adidas money
right?
and buy out Franklin and get a new coach, and they're going to pay that new coach handsomely. Are they going to pay that new coach $10 million a year, $11 million? What does Kirby Smart make? Are they just going to pay
Kirby Smart's, I believe, number one right now?
That's what I'm asking. Is it $12 million that he's making? What is he making? Penn State going to pay that?
I think it's higher, but
13.
I'll look and see. But
I just don't think that there's a number that Missouri is going to balk at. It's going to be made for other reasons. Remember, Blake Baker goes to LSU. Missouri was willing to they had given him a contract extension, and reportedly Missouri was willing to give him even more to try to keep him in the building, and it was not for money that he left.
Yeah.
He was,
Kirby Smart's at $13.2 million right now. By the way, James Franklin was at 8.5, so not that far off from
Not far off, but lower than our guy. And so if you're going to try to woo our guy or anybody else's guy that's making that type of money already, you're going to have to pay more, but it's going to be other factors that would, I think, contribute to a decision. And they could offer anyone. This is not specific to Drink. They could offer $11 million. If that happened, I think Mizzou would go, all right, match. Call me crazy. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think it's going to come down to money.
I mean, Mizzou has shown that they will give.
They've given what he needs
those types
because
of
they understand what he's building.
Program.
They value what he's building, and he is the king of the hill over here, right? As you should be, because that's the way that it works when you're building a college football program into what I think he can build Missouri into being. So what would worry you is just the draw of if there's another connection at a place that's like, or just the allure of a job, right? The money is, we live in a different world now. You think Indiana's losing Curt Cignetti to Penn State? You got another thing coming because they got all the money they need. He absolutely will not be coaching Penn State, Curt Cignetti. I promise you.
I don't think so. No.
I promise you he won't be. And I feel like pretty similarly confident to Drink, although we did just find out about Mark Cuban giving money to Indiana. And so that's where I'm like, well, they got all the money they need. And so that he's not going anywhere. But I think Mizzou's in a similar boat. So let's just beat Auburn. Let's focus on that. I agree with Drink.
That's what Eli Drinkwitz wants to focus on for sure. So for the rest of the week, we'll focus on that. And we thank you for joining us here today. Thanks to the injury expert, Will Carroll, for joining us as well. Tiger Talk. Maybe Drink says more interesting things on Tiger Talk tonight, 7 o'clock. Tune in right here on KTGR. He's Brendan. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
You've already met a few members of the Family Pond family. Now it's time to meet the newest one. Family Pond's South Columbia location is just off South Providence. And just like every family pond, it's got a personality all its own.